Hey,
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. And thank you
good.
so much for having me. Thank you for having a conversation with me.
Yes. Well, you know what? I think I told you a few minutes ago. I'm a little intimidated with this one because, first of all, you are just awesome.
Oh, well,
Your
thank you. As are you, but thank you.
your business is just outrageous. Let me just tell our viewers a little bit about you. This is Bobby Laurie. He is the owner of the Jet Set Go, and he has a TV travel talk show called The Jet Set.
That's correct.
And I want to, I'll give a little bit of your background. You were a flight attendant first, and then you have this, you have your TV show. But I'd like you to kind of go into that when we get started.
Yeah,
But first, I also want to mention I'm very proud to say you are in our Diamond Club. You're a
I
crown.
am.
You are a
Just
crown
recently.
jewel. Wow. Yeah, you should have a little tiara on or something.
There's no way to add that virtually, is there? No, I don't think so.
I don't know. I'll ask Evan.
Yeah.
So, Bobby, just tell me a little bit about how you got started and how this. I know that somewhere between a flight attendant and having your own TV travel show, something happened here.
Yeah. So that's it's a pretty interesting story that maybe some of you out there will remember. I'm gonna say I always say a couple years ago, but now it's about 20 years ago. You might remember a flight attendant who worked for JetBlue that decided to quit very publicly. He blew the emergency slides and he slid down with some drinks in both hands, and that was the way he decided to leave the airline. And it became big news, and everyone talked about him for a pretty long time. Well,
Yeah.
overnight, a lot of news organizations wanted to speak to flight attendants about the stresses of the job
Uh-huh.
and what life was really like that would cause someone to do that.
Right.
And in the airline industry, you're not really allowed to speak to the media unless you go through corporate communications. But I had a background in TV already. That's what I went to college for.
Uh-huh.
So I had talked to a few of these TV stations and we're like, okay, I will speak, but you can't say where I work. We need to keep that off the record, but I can prove to you that I am currently an employed flight attendant.
Right.
Literally everyone agreed, and overnight I did interviews on Good Morning America, the Today Show, CBS This Morning, or back then it was the Early Show, and everything, the nightly news, MSNBC, CNN, everywhere.
Wow.
And my career kind of took off from there. I kind of rode the wave or the cloud, if you will, of everyone wanting to speak about what life is like as a flight attendant and what a professional traveler might have to say
Mhm.
about things. That then went to regular segments on morning shows around the country, which then became a TV show on the Discovery Channel, which then became the Jet Set, which is now a weekly travel talk show that airs across the US, Canada, and the Caribbean. And this probably will be your next question, but believe it or not, then it took the pandemic for us to figure out, wait a minute, we should be selling what we talk about. And that's how
Oh, wow.
JetSetGo, the travel agency, was born.
Yeah, you'd think that would be really obvious, but sometimes it takes a pandemic
Yeah.
to wake you up. Well, I would have had that question, but I do have another question. So the guy that went down the chute with the drinks in his hand, did you later send him some kind of gift because he started you out on this
Oh
fabulous
yeah.
career?
Oh yes, 100%. I met him a few times. He and I are friends. We text pretty often. But the
Okay.
first time I met him, I gave him a huge hug, and I was like, "My whole career has been thanks to you, and it's on this trajectory, and it's still going, and it's all thanks to him." His name is Stephen. His name is Stephen Slater,
Okay.
and I mean, I tell him that all the time that I would not be here if he didn't decide to publicly quit his job the way that he did.
Oh wow. Well, I just think it's great. What a great story. So you decided to sell what you know, and yeah, well, wow. And so how did you though? I noticed. I'm going to list the things that I see that you're selling,
Yeah.
and I love your website by the way, and how easy it is to purchase. To give, man, you have got it down. If anyone wants to look at a website, you've got like The
Well,
shiny
thank you. I
examples.
designed them all myself.
Way to go.
Thanks.
So, under your cruises, you're selling AMA Waterways, Disney, Virgin Voyage, Viking River and Ocean. And then under all inclusives, you've got sandals and beaches. And then this I found very interesting. You have a tour sightseeing tab.
Mhm.
And it looks to me, now tell me if I'm wrong, but most of these tours are Project Expedition,
They are.
which
In fact,
is preferred.
yep. In fact, everything you mentioned, if you really dug through all the information on WorldVia, they've all got co-branded websites. So what we did was we capitalized on all of those suppliers that make it super easy for you to deliver to the client the most up-to-date information. Viking River and Ocean Cruises have that co-branded website where when they have a new cruise or a new sail, it updates right away, but your information is at the top of the screen. So everyone can contact you straight away rather than going straight to Viking. And the same thing for Project Expedition. They make it
Wow.
so that you can change the logo at the top to match your website. So it looks to the website user, the visitor, that they're on your website and you're selling these tours. But in fact, it's all updated in real time by Project Expedition. And you have no work to do in the downtime in between your sales.
Bobby, that's brilliant.
I tried to figure out, you said, it took a pandemic to come up with this idea, which it did. I mean, that's where we actually had the time to take a breath from producing the show on a weekly basis to be like, okay, if this happens again, what is our plan B? But in the meantime, travel is going to come back. So what can we do to capitalize on that? And
Yeah.
that's where this idea came from. But we also knew we didn't have that much time to dedicate to updating our websites on a daily basis with the new
Right.
promotions and such. So how do we
Right.
do that? Well,
Yeah.
let's find all those co-branded websites and offerings that the suppliers have, and
Yeah.
let's use that instead.
That's just, I don't know. I just think it's amazing. And I'm super impressed. And
Thank you.
I'm more than super impressed that you joined Travel Quest Network. You are such a great addition to our network.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I did a lot of research before we picked a host agency,
Mhm.
and really with what I had read about Travel Quest and how everything was set up really fit with what we were trying to do.
Mhm.
And I've enjoyed every moment of being a part of Travel Quest. Everyone's been super supportive and helpful every time we've encountered an issue. So, I'm very happy to be here.
Great. That's really, really good to hear. I
Yeah.
love that. So, tell me a little bit more about. Okay. So these are all brands that are easy to get on their website. They keep it all updated. But have you traveled with all of these? Do you?
So you touched on it before, where you said that we sell what we know. So granted, we do have this TV show side of our business, and we do get to travel quite a bit with the TV show side of the business. But when it comes to the travel agency side, we really only sell what we know. We only sell the products that we've experienced, and when those questions arise, we know the answer off the top of our head, and that's kind of made the selling process so much easier and the startup process so much easier. We had not been travel agents before. We had not been travel advisors before. So
Oh, okay.
we were trying to figure out, like I said, the easiest way of setting up the websites, the easiest way of being able to get out there and market, which granted, we've got an audience built in that not everyone has, but the easiest way of answering their questions in a timely manner. And one of those ways was to sell what you know. And I had been on Viking Ocean. I had actually been very fortunate that I did one of Viking Ocean's Cuba cruises before Cuba disappeared from itineraries. And I went to the christening of, I think it was 4 Viking river ships in Germany. This was all on the TV show side of things. So naturally, when we started the agency, I was like, we need to start with Viking because I know what that looks like.
Did Viking advertising through other channels like I would see their commercials when I was watching Downton Abbey on PBS? Did you see an increase because of that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we would also, those same segments that we would make for the TV show, we would air those on social media as well, and we would try to tie those into what Viking was airing. So if they were doing something more, let's say, like UK focused around Downton Abbey, we would try to make sure that that's what we were doing as well, to try to capitalize on the audience searching for the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that would be our other big tip, was we tried to keep what we were advertising
Right.
newsworthy. Yeah, and
Right.
relevant.
Right. Relevant. Yes. Yes. So I see, the products that you're selling. Do you have any future plans to add to any of these, or do they just need to be these that you can co-brand and?
Well, I mean, the co-branding definitely makes it a lot easier, especially for our business model. But yeah, I mean, we definitely do plan on adding to it. We just did our first couple of like truly independent, personalized itinerary, like travel for two clients that we've had that did Viking World cruises and now want to go on their own
Yeah.
journeys, that we're building it personally for them, and that's been an experience. But yeah, we're definitely looking at different things that we can add and different ways that we can enhance what we're offering. We do get like one-offs. It's interesting because as you begin to build your client base, someone, in fact, this client I'm talking about, who booked a world cruise with Viking, has also booked probably 3 or 4 Norwegian cruise line sailings with me. Now he's going on an Alaska cruise next month on Holland America. So we obviously have those registrations with those suppliers to make those sales. They're just not what we advertise outright because we can't support the manpower yet. But something else you're probably looking at on that paper down there that I can't see is how many sub agents we've been adding. Because
I was going to ask that.
yeah, we've been. Maybe I can see it now. We've been growing slowly, and in fact, what's interesting is most of our sub agents are flight attendants or former flight attendants as well.
Really?
Yeah. So I kind of, there are people that I've met at the airlines that I've worked at in the past, and they've either had a travel background in being a travel advisor or wanted to, and I've kind of helped them and guided them along the way. But I think that helps too. Again, sell what you know.
Yes, yes. It kind of goes along. I don't know if you've noticed some of the courses that Erica, our education manager, she's been doing this series called Signal What You Sell.
Yep.
And it kind of goes along with, if you're going to focus on something, you need to let people know what that is, so they'll be plain. And it's very obvious what you sell.
Yeah.
That's just great.
We try to make it pretty obvious. It's, for the most part, I would say like we are literally 80% Viking and Virgin. That's pretty much what we're doing at the minute.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with those two choices.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yes.
I was a little sad. We did get invited on a free cruise on Virgin around the Greek islands, but couldn't make it, unfortunately. But maybe.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, that would make me sad.
Yeah, I still think about it. Just gaze out the window at what it could.
You're going to have to put that in a bubble and blow it away.
Yeah, I know I do. I definitely do.
Well, before we run out of time, I want to also ask you, you said you're bringing on new subs. So how are you training them? What are you telling them? These are past maybe flight attendants, but still they need some kind of advisor training.
Oh, yeah,
so,
absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, some of them are past flight attendants. A few of them are not. But yeah, I mean, generally, first and foremost, what we're doing, of course, is making sure that they understand the Viking and Virgin products, because that's our bread and butter. That's what we're going out there and advertising. But then also just kind of letting them tell us what interests them the most. Sell what you know. So what is it that you enjoy about the travel experience? What is it you enjoy? What do you book when you want to go on vacation? Let's explore what suppliers we can work with through WorldVia and see how then we can incorporate that into what we're selling. But then, when we get those clients like that gentleman that booked that world cruise, who then says, oh, now I would like to sail with, I don't know, MSC Cruises, and I have not sold that before. Maybe one of the subs has, and that's their specialty. So here, let me have you work with so-and-so who can better guide you along the MSC booking experience. But generally, we go through the training that's offered through WorldVia and through the suppliers themselves. And of course, we've got our own little tailored how we like to sell Viking and Virgin and sandals and such. But aside from that, we really let them kind of dictate what they enjoy the most.
If they haven't been on a trip that you would like them to focus on, do you help them get on like a Viking voyage, or
Yeah.
do you help them do that?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if there's an opportunity out there, or there's one that's being offered very cheaply, and we can make it happen, then yeah, 100%. That
Mhm.
is definitely something we want to do. In fact, myself and another one of our agents went on a Viking River cruise last June,
Mhm.
and he now sells primarily ocean cruises. So we were like, okay, so there's no real fam trips with Viking because they're so full so often.
Right,
So
right.
we were like, how do we now get on board a Viking Ocean so he knows more about what he's talking about?
Mhm.
And we just spoke with the BDM and said, you can see our business is booming, but
Right.
we'd like to have some hands-on experience with what we're
Mhm.
telling the
Mhm.
clients they're going to expect.
Mhm.
And we found one of their promotions that offered free air and free everything. And interesting enough, you might not know this, if you want to go on a Viking trip and there is not a fam being offered, if you want to take advantage of the promotions being offered that include like the onboard credit and the free airfare,
Right.
they can let an advisor book that, and they'll sell it to you at the net rate.
Wow, I did not know that.
The BDM will go in and change everything so that they're selling it to you at the net rate. This way you're not paying for the added services and such, and then the commissions and all that all gets removed. So this way you're paying the base price, so you'll have the ability to kind of make your own fam trip.
That's fantastic, because once you've been on a trip like that, you just got to sell it when you come back.
Oh yeah,
That's
easy,
just,
easy. I
it's
mean,
hard
we're
not to
we're
sell it.
going in January, and we're going to Istanbul, to Athens, and I've never been to Turkey, and can't wait to experience that. And that'll be guarantee you, if you watch the Jet Set, say like around September. No, I'm gonna say like February, March, because we come back at the end of January. You'll probably see Istanbul, you'll probably see Turkey, and we'll probably be pushing that every week.
I'm going to be looking for that. I was looking at how I find that, and I am a member of Amazon Prime, so it should be pretty easy for me to
Yep,
find
you're there.
it. So I also am wondering, you are such a good fit for go with me type trips. Are you going to be doing some of that where you put it out there on your website and say, I'm doing this, who wants to go?
I have done that in the past. I haven't done it in a while, actually. I think we will. I think we will do that again. I did it. We did it. I did it for like 4 years in a row when I
Oh.
was working on a morning show
Mhm.
back in the early 2010s.
Mhm.
It was very popular, and it became quite a bit of work, though. We used to call it Cruise with the Stews. It was a cruise with just flight attendants. Um, and it was a lot of work, to say the least.
Yeah.
Would I
Well,
find some
yeah.
downtime to plan that? Absolutely.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, we during the pandemic came up with that light bulb finally went off of, let's sell what we're talking about on the show weekly. And
Mhm.
we do that. Like, we will curate at the same itinerary, the same hotel, the
Oh,
same
okay.
experiences, and
Mhm.
say, like, if you want to go experience New Orleans the same way that we just did, go to our website, and you can, and we'll direct them to how to book that with us.
Right.
And then
Right.
at least they also know that what they watched will match what they're going to experience, or
Okay.
as much as they want to tailor it to their own personalized
Mhm.
interests.
Mhm.
But that might be the avenue for the minute. Those go with me type cruises. We had 75 cabins on our last one,
Yeah.
and a team of like 5 people to manage, which
Yeah.
75 would end up being 150. Yeah, we need some more folks first.
That is a lot of work. People don't
Yeah.
understand. They think, "Oh, they're just gonna travel and it's, no,
Well,
no."
then it became, so we did it 3 years in a row. And then we put out like a questionnaire afterwards, like, okay, so we did this one. What do you want next year? And everyone wanted bigger and better ships, but then no one wanted bigger price tags. So you were like,
Oh,
okay,
well,
well,
yeah.
we gotta figure out how that works.
Yes,
And
yeah,
then, the personalized excursions and entertainment options where you can reserve the facilities on board the ships. We
right.
did that. We had private functions. We had all that. So there's quite a bit of planning that I would like to put
Yeah,
into an event like that I'm not
yeah.
sure I have the time for just yet.
That you did add quite a bit to that trip
Yeah.
if you did that.
Are you
Yeah.
volunteering to help?
I might.
Just kidding.
I love groups. So, okay, my last question before we just totally run out of time. And this is, oh, I'm going to ask this.
Uh-oh.
What advice do you have for new members that are just starting out with their business? Now, Bobby, they don't have their own TV show.
Yeah. Gotcha. I would say I would go back to what I've said a few times. Sell what you know. You're more passionate about what you know. You're more I don't want to say obviously you're more knowledgeable because you know it, but you're more inclined to have more of a conversation about a
Mhm.
product that you've experienced, and
Right.
you've got, those intricacies that you might not get in doing the training with the supplier. You'll know those little ins and outs, and those are things that I think the client is looking for when you're speaking to them at first about a
Right.
particular type of
Yes.
trip. And that makes the sale easier because then it's almost as if you're not even really trying to make the sale. You're just telling them a story about your trip and what you
Yes.
experienced, and the sale kind of happens. Um, and I would also say, just like you touched on before, in your social media posts and advertising, or however you're trying to bring in new clients, keep
Yes.
it relevant to what's happening. If
Yes.
Outlander just returned to stars right now, so
Mhm.
folks are looking at Scotland a lot, and we
It's
know
true.
how quickly Europe booked up. So
Mhm.
maybe target things toward that if Scotland or those type of fit travel trips are in your wheelhouse.
Yes.
Point it in that direction because folks are looking for it.
Right. Yeah. You're really tuned in to what's going on in
Absolutely. We are. Yeah. We the beginning of every, now again, you don't need a show to do this, but the beginning of our show every week starts on what's new in the travel industry.
yeah.
And I get called on quite a bit from other media outlets to talk about what's happening in the industry. So I'm watching it. But setting up a simple Google News alert for cruise
Yeah.
news or hotel news, or
Yes.
whatever it may be, keeping up on that, you'll then know what to go out and post on social media to bring in the folks looking for more information on what they're seeing
Yeah.
around them.
That's great. Do you ever tune into our Friday weekly chatter
I
that
do.
Jason always tries to end the program with what's in the news and
Yep.
travel news. So that's just great. That's
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. I tune in. I tune in weekly. I'm
Good.
a fan. It'll be.
Excellent.
I'm going to TQ World. It'll be my first one.
Oh, well, I will see you there.
I'm looking
Yes.
forward to it. But it'll be
Yeah.
my first one. I've heard a lot about it. I heard that Joshua's quite the celebrity there.
Oh, he is. He's a snappy too. Don't even try to compete with Joshua and
I,
his outfits.
oh yeah, no,
No,
I
that way
won't. Don't
only
worry.
I have heartache. Okay, well, great. Well, you know what? I have really enjoyed speaking with you and learning more
Same.
about your business. And I know we're going to see a lot of you in the future. And now that I can find you on TV, I'll be watching.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you taking the time to have this conversation. I mean, really, it's super helpful because when we were first getting started, even though this is like now we've got this built in clientele, I
Mhm.
tried to become a travel advisor in the past and it didn't work out so well for me. And having a series like this to get some tips and information on how folks built it up would have been super
Yes.
helpful back then. And I'm happy that you have that medium now.
Yeah, I am too. I am too. I'm enjoying it and I'm getting really good feedback. So thank you. Yeah.
Of course.
All right. Well, you have a good day and I guess I'll see you in September.
Sounds good. I'll see you there.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.